Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another video which I'm going to be reviewing Dragon Ball Super episode 32, and then giving my thoughts about that, and my predictions for what's going to happen in Dragon Ball Super episode 33. Well, a lot of stuff happened in Dragon Ball Super episode 32, and I do mean a lot, so without further ado, let's get started. So we saw a lot of stuff happen in this episode. The episode began with Goku and Vegeta training in the hyperbolic time chamber for the 3-year period of time, trying to grow even stronger before that upcoming tournament against Team Universe 6. And it was interesting to see that Goku and Vegeta were really going all out and training with one another. That was something I really liked about the Resurrection F arc when we actually got to see them train, and them spending 3 years together in constant training is a really awesome idea, and something that's going to be really cool to see if their characters have developed and they become even more as friends. And also it's going to be really cool to see if they developed any new techniques in there. But then we flashed over to Earth, and Whis was collecting everyone so that he could bring them to the tournament grounds on the Nameless Planet that we'll see a little bit later. And there was a funny scene in which Jocko came and introduced his leader, the King of the Galaxy, who is literally the king of the entire galaxy and runs the Galactic Patrol. But funny enough, Bulma didn't really seem to care because of the fact that she's met King Kai, the Supreme Kais, and the God of Destruction. But in another funny scene, one that's really interesting, we actually see Goku and Vegeta teleport to the location so they go with them to the tournament. And very strangely, they actually have full beards. Now this is the first time we've ever seen them, aside from GT with Vegeta's mustache, actually have facial hair in the series. It seemed like a highly contested debate whether or not they actually could grow facial hair, considering the fact that Vegeta had said that Saiyan's hair does not change from the day that they were born, but of course we saw King Vegeta with a beard, so we had to wonder if he was born with a beard or not, say with Nappa's mustache. So it was really interesting to see them like this, but it didn't last long as they shaved it off and all went on their way to the Nameless Planet, being led there by Whis. But first, they made a pit stop at Beerus's planet, and we actually got to meet Menaka, who is supposedly the strongest fighter in the universe, not named Beerus or Whis. And he spoke with Goku asking him if he really was that powerful, and we actually got to find out a little bit more about him. Strangely, that his name is Big Pointer, or Ponta, and strangely it's because he has gigantic nipples. Now, I don't really know why Toriyama decided to go with this kind of general design for him. I think it's very strange even for him, but it's going to be pretty funny to see if maybe, I don't know, they shoot lasers out or something. But Goku, itching for a fight and trying to see just how strong this guy really was, decided to go full out and punch him in the face in his base form, and this didn't really work out very well because seemingly Menaka was in a lot of pain, which obviously to Goku and I guess us as the audience was shocking considering he's supposed to be so powerful. And obviously Goku quickly apologized to him, which he accepted, but it is very strange that this character seems to have been injured by a punch from base Goku. It reminds me very similar of the scene in which Goku blasts the old Kai, trying to test out his power as well. I don't know if this is a subtle cue to the audience that Menaka might not actually be that powerful, at least anymore, considering we don't know when Beerus actually fought him and he might be well out of his prime, or it was just another situation where they're trying to make it seem like he's weak, but he's actually super strong, was probably just caught off guard like Goku was when he got blasted with the laser. Or maybe, similar to a Super Saiyan, he transforms from that base state into his full power. It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen that, but in either case it's going to be really interesting to find out as the series progresses. But finally they made their way to that Nameless Planet, and we actually got to see all of the Super Dragon Balls hovering around it, and man, these things are gigantic. They're all planet size and actually equal to the planet in size that they're going to for the tournament. And they actually go across the top of it, and you actually see just how small and insignificant they all are to the power and the size of these things. I'm sure that the power of them in magical abilities or reality warping or whatever they happen to be is equally impressive. After all, supposedly they can grant any wish. But then they finally arrived at that tournament ground. Champa and Beerus faced off, and Beerus actually had Whis fix up the place to make it a little bit better, adding in some floating platforms instead of the boring bleachers that they had before for people to sit in and observe the fights. In another interesting turn of events, we actually see Supreme Kai and Kibito and Old Kai, and apparently Supreme Kai and Kibito defused, and as they tell Goku, they use the Namekian Dragon Balls to do so. Now of course this has led to a lot of speculation since this actually originally happened in the manga, and people are wondering now, since there are all these different Patari earrings, if perhaps now that they defuse, we're going to see, say, Vegito again. again, or maybe some other kind of powerful fusion. And that's another really interesting possibility that is going forward with this tournament. But then, funny enough, we're actually introduced to the Supreme Kais of Universe 6, which Goku introduces himself to. But speaking of new characters that were introduced, we finally get to see after this Team Universe 6 in the anime for the first time. And all of them are very interesting. However, there are two that seem to be very familiar to us as the audience and the characters. First off, Piccolo points out another one who looks exactly like Frieza. But then another one comes up to them who looks like a Saiyan and introduces himself, asking if they are Saiyans and then saying that he himself is one. And basically he reveals that he comes from the original Saiyan homeworld in that universe, which was never destroyed because Frieza in that universe does not exist. Rather, the other character is not Frieza at all, but a character named Frost, who is actually a good guy. And of course, that's going to be expanded upon even further in the coming episodes, and I'll talk about that more in my predictions. But after this, we went to the written test to see who actually qualifies for this fight. However, as you can see here, Boo was struggling, and as we find out, Boo actually failed the test, which isn't really shocking considering it is Boo. I mean, the guy isn't even smart compared to Goku, you know, and Goku looks like Einstein next to him. So basically it turns out that this fight is actually going to be a 4-on-5 now, at least so far that we seem to see, and basically it's going to be Goku, Piccolo, Vegeta, and Menaka all teaming up against the other 5, which obviously doesn't seem like the odds are in their favor. But in order to determine who would go first or what the order of going would actually be, they decide to play rock, paper, scissors, and Beerus of course said that Menaka, being the strongest, must go last. So this set up Goku actually going first in the tournament. We actually got to see an interesting look at the brackets right here, in which we get to see all of the different fighters paired up, and it looks like from this, we're going to actually see who is going to be fighting who in the subsequent tournaments. Then of course we had a funny scene in which we actually got to hear the Anthem of the universe, which was only one line, with the announcer basically saying the universe is vast. But with that, we led to the actual opening of the first match of this tournament, Goku versus Botamo, who looks kind of like Winnie the Pooh if you knew Kung Fu, you know, or maybe their universe's version of Majin Buu. And with that, the gong of the first match rang, the two faced off in the ring, and the episode came to a conclusion. Now overall, I really liked this episode. I thought it was really cool. There was really interesting, you know, additions to the series with them, actually introducing for the first time all of these fighters from Team Universe 6. And it's going to be really interesting to see in the series just what all of their hidden abilities seem to be. Now, of course, we did see that Frieza-looking character, so it'll be kind of obvious to suggest that he's probably going to transform at some point in this series. But it's also going to be really interesting to see exactly what Botamo's hidden ability might be as well, and if each of them is, you know, maybe an alternate universe version of a fighter or of a villain from the Z universe, from the 7th universe. But basically, as I said, I really like this episode, and it's definitely, you know, up there as one of the best episodes of the series thus far. And a lot of it, of course, has to do with the fact that we're actually starting, once and for all, the new content in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super, and I can't wait to see it unfold in the anime. But with that being said, let's go over to my predictions. And of course, with my predictions, we can automatically see a very interesting sight, and that is Goku as a regular Super Saiyan. Now this is definitely very strange because the fact that Goku is a regular Super Saiyan, and we seem to be under the impression before that Super Saiyan got Super Saiyan, or the Super Saiyan blue-haired form was Super Saiyan. After all, Goku is a god in his base, so there's no reason that when he turns into a Super Saiyan, he shouldn't also be a god. But it seems like at this point, when Goku is turning into this normal Super Saiyan, he seems to be perhaps excluding the other ki from his body, the god ki, and is perhaps transforming on top of his base with the 50 times multiplier. But that's of course very confusing, because then of course it raises all these questions of what the multiplier for Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan is. Is it actually higher than the multiplier for Super Saiyan 3, or what exactly is it? I feel like this is going to cause a lot of headaches for people like me in the future. Now basically with this, the anime is finally catching up to the manga, and I'm going to talk about some manga spoilers right now, so if you don't want to hear any more about that, just turn the video off right now and let me know your predictions down below. But for everyone else, as we know in the manga, and as I published a video earlier in the week and talked about this, basically we see that Goku is going to be fighting Frost in the Super Saiyan transformation after Frost has transformed several times into his final form. Now, I don't know exactly why Goku would turn into this rather than Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, and if this is weaker than that form, I don't know why Goku wouldn't simply fly over and knock out Frost with one single shot and be at his max power for the next fighter. I know that they're trying to talk about this whole conserving energy thing, but we never saw any issue whatsoever with the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan form when it came to conserving energy. Goku and Vegeta seem to do it effortlessly, so when Goku is turning into a regular Super Saiyan, it makes me wonder, why is this happening? But in either case, as we know, for the title of an upcoming episode, it seems that Goku is actually going to lose against Frost, and we're probably going to see Frost versus Piccolo. Now, obviously it doesn't seem like Piccolo would be able to stand any chance whatsoever against Frost, but perhaps it's going to be some sort of situation where Goku and Frost come down the wire, and Frost takes out Goku but is basically done himself. Piccolo steps in and beats him with one shot. So it'll definitely be really interesting to see where this goes about, and I'm going to be really interested to see if they decide to actually do maybe flashbacks during these fights since it's in the anime, develop each of these characters from Team Universe 6 a little bit more, or maybe add to some of the action that we saw in the manga. But in either case, this has been another review of Dragon Ball Super. Let me know your own thoughts down below. Did you like this episode? Did you dislike it? Have you seen it yet? Also, what are your predictions for what's going to come in the future? Let me know down below. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
And you better subscribe!